Apparently everyone can hear me, so I got no songs. All right. Let's see who's here. We are live. Welcome, everyone. If you have questions or inappropriate emoji attempts, just to throw me off my game, be entertaining, fire them away. The more weird emojis at the wrong time. Let's just do it. Let's just make this whole thing an emoji fight. So I'm Sunir. Those of you who don't know me, I am the founder of AppBind. We help SaaS companies go to market with solution partners as agencies so they can actually include your software as resellers and part of their own quotes to clients. And I am also the president of the Cloud Software Association, where I buy drinks for all the SaaS partnership people everywhere I go. It's also the largest network of SaaS partnership people, cloudsoftwareassociation.com. We're professional alcoholics, let's admit it. We'll get back to that at the end. So today I'm talking about how to go to market with agencies and consultants in order to ramp revenue. Oh, those slippery eels, they're so difficult to work with. Let's talk about what to do about them. Oh my gosh. I hope, but those of you, I'd like to know how many of you are at the beginning of your agency program or consulting program? Fire an emoji. Okay, one. How many of you? Oh, much. Great. And how many of you are like well on the path and trying to optimize your agency program? Fire another emoji. Okay, awesome. It's like 2/3, 1/3 who have established programs. So some of this will resonate for both, depending on where you are in the journey. So, but first, let's just talk about why even deal with these agencies. So, in general, with any kind of partnership, you have to follow the fundamental idea of partnerships. We only talk to partners because customers need them in order to advance through your life cycle. That's the only reason why we need partners in our lives, because otherwise it wouldn't be partners. It's about the customer and helping them along their journey. Service partners are particularly useful because they impact so much of the customer lifecycle, from the pre-sales side of bringing in new accounts to you through marketing and closing the sale, and a lot post-sale with onboarding, implementation, adoption, expansion, all these things to actually grow the lifetime value of your accounts. So you cannot avoid a service channel in a SaaS business, because your customers, over half the customers, need some kind of service partner sometime in their lifetime experience. It's really important in order to maximize your LTV to have a service channel. I'm sure you all agree because you're here. Your CFOs and CEOs may not, as we all know. But this is the argument. It's like, what part of the life cycle aren't they touching? Right? We need this because the customers need it as a whole product solution. However, there are big differences between pre-sales and post-sales services. They solve different needs. And it's more like in a pre-sales solution, pre-sales service partner, they need you in order to close a sale with their customer. So they're usually solving some kind of solution or implementing a system. They need technology to deliver some end result to the client, and that's your technology, and often multiple other pieces of technologies that they're integrating together into an overall system. But in a post-sales service partner, the customer is already a customer of yours. What they are experiencing as a customer is they're kind of overwhelmed. They need help, they need capacity, they need some helping hands and a trusted expert to help them use your product more effectively. And that's a different kind of value offering. And these kind of service companies may not be the same. We'll talk about that later, but it's quite a common strategy to go after the post-sales service companies, hoping that they'll deliver pre-sales, and they will. Like, for every 5 leads you hand out, you'll get 1 back from a pre-sales. But these companies are really optimized around picking up clients from you rather than delivering you new clients. So they're kind of different in a way. But the pre-sales customer agencies actually can usually handle both. So you often start with post-sales and then eventually migrate to focusing on your pre-sales service companies who can handle both sides of the funnel. All right, well, let's get into it. So let's talk about post-sales consultants, because most people start here. These are people who will do with onboarding, implementation, enablement, adoption. Very, very common. Really, you're handing leads to them, and you're trying to help your customer get through that life cycle. So it really comes down to recommending service companies who can help customers when they're having some breakdown in the product experience. Only you know what those breakdowns are for your product. It could be anything. HubSpot's a really good example of this. They have a huge agency directory. The product is very, very complicated, right? Because you have inbound marketing, ads, content, you know, sales, marketing automation. There's lots of places where agencies can deliver services, and now they have HubSpot admins. When a customer doesn't have the skills or time or labor and they need help, they'll often ask HubSpot for help, and HubSpot will point to the agency directory and deliver results. Zapier is another example. They have the Zapier Experts program for people who want an automation, don't know what to use. So the thing to do is, if you're going to attract partners into this program and also make it a feature that extends the power of your software to customers, you want to show that they're not just buying you, they're buying this ecosystem. You need to have a public directory of these partners. Now, this is partnerpage.io, great tool. There's Partner Fleet. There's a bunch of these tools. You could even do it with just a WordPress page of you listing your partners, but do make a publicly visible partner directory so that that partners coming along, would-be partners, can see that you are willing to promote them to your customers, and then you can set the terms of what that means later. Now, for me, I've always hated doing this because I'm terrified of introducing lame ducks to my clients, my own customers, and it's really a trust problem. I find it really difficult to trust agencies. But what I found is, like, I was overthinking it for so long. You kind of have different stages of your program here. And I think a lot of people get trapped into what to do because they look at more mature programs here that have like weird metal tiers, like bronze, silver, gold, platinum. Like, if you're not really well developed, you don't need to do metal tiering. I'll explain why in a second, why you tier. But if you're right at the beginning, really what you need to do is have some proof that this person is competent, right? So get case studies from them. And the way to extract case studies is always to say to the potential partner is like, hey, you did great work with the customer. Can I showcase you to other customers by writing you up on our blog, right? So you get a case study from them. And, you can start building up this quiver of case studies of agencies working with clients on your blog as a way of promoting them. And as you're getting enough, you'll finally have agencies that you know and trust that you can put up, a WordPress page of just your top 4 agencies just to start with, and start recommending it. But now you have that public page that you can start showing to other agencies who are working with your customers that they should reach out to you and build a relationship with you, because you'll promote them more, and then you'll see things snowball. Later on, as your program develops and you're no longer outbound trying to acquire these companies, they'll be coming into you inbound because the tables have turned. Then you're going to have way too many agencies. This is when you need to get into things like certifications and the metal tiering. So the certifications is a way of automating trust and also separating the best from the worst. And you can use a learning management tool like Thinkific or whatever to build these courseware. This takes a lot more effort, but it's worth it once you have, let's say, 50 or 100 partners, maybe even 20 or more, depending on your kind of software, to start separating those who are skilled at one thing or the other, or the ones who are the most skilled and worth the most that you can recommend clients to. It's a significant investment. Make sure you can prove channel revenue in the 6 figures before you get on this figure, but it's worth doing certifications. And then when to metal tier, right? That's a thing that comes up all the time. People see other people doing metal tiering. The only time you need to do metal tiering, like gold, silver, bronze, is because your partner team has very few staff, right? And you have so many partners, right? At some point, you become overwhelmed and you can't support all the partners. You can't send leads to everybody. You can't handle inbound inquiries. You can't provide partner account managements to them. That's when you need to start doing metal tiering to manage your time, not them. And yes, it could be pay to play because the money coming in from the partners is a way of doing like really rev share because you're sending them clients, right? But to pay for your partner team, your partner staff to keep investing back in them. But really, it's about saying to the partners who are delivering the most customers to you, or working with the most amount of customers, that you're going to reward them the best, because you can only focus so much time. Now, one mistake though with this that I see, there's two actually mistakes. One is that you just ignore everyone down in the base pyramid, but that's market activity that you're just turning away. It's also important for you to find efficient ways of working with your community, like building a Slack channel or a blog or kind of passive resources, that people who are not at the top of a tier can continue to grow their business, improve their way up the ladder. And the second thing is, if you are charging for going up the tiers, for whatever reason, make sure that money doesn't go to general revenue. Make sure it goes to your partner team's payroll, because this is really a key mistake that CFOs make, is take your partner revenue away from the partner payroll, which means you can't reinvest in the partners. All right. So finally, I will just say that because it's often confused, agencies are. Chris asked from Lead Forensics, does anyone have tiers that are not metals? Yes. Sometimes they use gemstones. I don't know why. People like metal. We're all dwarves. Let me just say. Okay. So, what metrics do you use to measure a post-sales thing? You need to get your CFOs aligned, and also it shows you like where on the team who's going to be your best friend is going to be success. Probably you're going to align with customer success because you're driving the same part of the funnel as they are. Or if you don't have customer success, the product team who is driving post-sales, and then you're looking at these partners affecting retention and expansion revenue. So the way to measure is you look at your existing customers, not new, but existing customers who then work with a partner. Is the retention or churn better than the baseline average? And those who then went to partners, is their ARPA, the average revenue per account, growing or not growing? That is the most important thing to measure. There will be an argument that these customers are already motivated enough to go to a partner and would have saved themselves anyway. So then you can also, if you're getting that argument, statistically, you can look at those customers who wanted a partner but got them and succeeded, and those who wanted a partner and didn't get one and succeeded, and look if there's differences on those metrics statistically, just to get over the idea that the intervention you made by introducing a partner to the customer worked or didn't work. Those are things you can do. So let's move on to the real money, which is pre-sales consultants. These are net new accounts. These are ones that matter. Like I said, pre-sales consultants are useful to grow your LTV, and you need them. But there's a mistake thinking they're going to generate demand, because they're oriented around getting clients from you, not giving you clients. So let's talk about people who are actually just driving customers to you, because that's their primary function. So in this case, there are like multiple ways that they could work with you, from recommendation, which is just like they don't care about you, but they like their customer and they know you could help them. They just tell them, all the way up to reselling you, where you're a critical part of their business. There's quite a range, but the more they take on, like the more they need you, the more revenue that segment should deliver you, right? And so, I mean, we saw at Pipedrive, for instance, that referrals were worth 15% of channel revenue, but the solution partners, the resellers, were 67% of the channel revenue. It's like quite a big difference there. So you really want to move them up the stack as much as you can. But it's like kind of a trust thing. It's kind of like dating, where they don't really know you. Like it's a product they're evaluating, and their clients are their children, and they don't want to introduce you to their children until they know you. So you need to like work them away up from like, I'm just looking at you, making eye contact, to having a coffee date, to like getting really steady with the co-sell, to finally putting a ring on it, and them basically building a business on you. This is your orientation when you're in the channel. Is like, how do I get them from here to there? And the way to think about that is, how critical are we to their sale? Not how critical are they to your sale, which is what I see a lot of channel programs doing. It's not about you, it's about them, because they're closer to the customer. How do you make yourself critical to the consultant's sale? Now, I'm going to tell you, down at this other end, recommend and refer, you probably don't matter to them at all. And if that's what you're evaluating your channel program on, like affiliate links or referral links, no agency or consultant is going to use a referral link. That's absolutely unprofessional with a client. It's like you're sending a client to the hardware store to buy your own pipes, right? And then, but then you're telling them to take your contractor ID because you're short to take your wife out for dinner on Friday. It's like so absurd, like that would never happen. So these are people who they want to help their customer and they like you, so or they know about you and they'll send them over. It's really the co-sell resell people who are building businesses based on you that you need to focus on. Now, like I said, this plumbing analogy is real. Like if you look outside of SaaS, where almost every contracting experience you've ever had in your life, no contractor makes their clients go and buy their own software or tools or materials or pipes or pumps, right? That is absolutely madness. The client hires people who are smart to take care of the problem for them. I just did a reno. My plumber didn't make me buy my own wax seals and pipes to install my bathroom. Doesn't make any sense, but we do that here in SaaS because of the subscription. Rebecca Owens asked the question, how do you rebalance an existing partnership that's more heavily favoring the external partner? Well, I would always ask, when you talk about the internecine problem between partner and partner, what does the customer need in order to buy? So does it matter? Like, it's like sometimes there'll be one partner who's doing more work than the other, but the customer is king, queen, and God, right? So they have all the money. So if it's what they need in order to buy. So if the partner is winning more of it than you are, that might be fine if that's what the customer needs in order to buy you. I mean, if you're finding that you're not delivering value to the customer, well, do better. I mean, if you find that it's actually the correct thing for the customer, then you're doing great. I mean, it's market share. You just want it. Okay. So what's happening in the channel when your partners aren't actually reselling, or buying and expensing materials? This is what the contractor would do. It's because subscriptions basically broke the whole model. I mean, the traditional IT channel doesn't have this problem, right? 75% of B2B software is sold through partners, 20% through SaaS. That's because of subscriptions. They can't create accounts that they can manage what the customer owns, and they definitely don't want to be in the middle of the recurring billing because it's a lot of financial risk, and they're really scared of it. So they don't do it. So they end up in this kind of place where they're looking at financial risk as they go closer and closer to the better model, which is reselling. And so they end up in this valley of referring and co-selling, which is like in the middle, right? Is a way of getting the software they need in order to do their work, but not taking on the financial risk. But when you're in this middle valley, what happens is they're in this love triangle, right? Where they've introduced you as a tool vendor, a manufacturer, to their customer, right? And now you're both applying human pressure on that customer, right? With possibly misaligned goals, and that can be terrifying. Because remember, a consultant, no matter what kind of contractor you are, a digital marketer or an auto mechanic or a nail salon on the bride's wedding day, they're selling all the same thing to a customer who's overwhelmed, doesn't have the capacity or capability themselves, has a time pressure, maybe already behind schedule, and just wants to be calmed down. The client, no matter what, every contractor sells calm and control to a client in any scenario. And if you, as a SaaS vendor, says something that's not aligned with the consultant's message to the client, remember they own the customer, and it increases the client's anxiety by confusing them or creating doubt, they're going to fire that consultant or cause some trouble. And that's happened to me multiple times. I will pick on Amplitude because they have done this multiple times to me when I was an analytics consultant. By selling the enterprise package when I was trying to buy the baseline package, took 2 weeks to repair the damage every single time. And that's really terrifying for an agency, right? They're not going to want to work with you. So this is something you have to manage if you're going to go work with a pre-sales consultant. You need to not be in a love triangle with them. You need to be their Huckleberry. You need to support them, right? And so what happens is, because there's a trust issue, because before they introduce you to their children, it's dating, right? They don't want to introduce you to their children until they know you. There's always a double pipeline in the channel where the partner comes in through either outbound efforts to acquire them or from because they're just looking at the same materials direct customers are looking, they're evaluating your software or whatever. They come and evaluate you. There's a funnel where they start talking to you. They evaluate the software. They evaluate your partner team, whether you have their back, whatever, and eventually you win their trust. That is the first pipeline. All they're going to do is make sure that they can trust you to bring you to a client, and then literally nothing will happen for ages. Could be months, could be almost a year until a client needs something, right? Once there's client's demand, then action will happen, and then they want to move very quickly, right? And so when you're looking at your pipeline metrics in the channel for partner acquisition, you need to have a separation here between the point where the partner says, "Yeah, I got it. I love this. I'm ready. I'll take it to a client," and then there's going to be a period from there to when there's actually a client on their side needing it, where nothing could happen. Your job in the middle is to keep messaging them, like newsletters, webinars, invite them to dinner, email them one to one. Just keep up with them, remind them you exist, and eventually something will happen with a client, and then you'll get into a pipeline. And once they get through one client with you, they're much closer to bringing you to for their clients. But when you're giving your KPIs to CRO, CFO, you need to have this kind of double pipeline in your metrics of, okay, I got them to a trust position. Now we're going to wait until the clients come. And that you don't have no control over. That is a random process, So, but first metric, how many partners do we have that have onboarded with us in some way? And then how long does it take for a client to appear on average? And then you can measure your channel pipeline. You can predict it going forward. So how do you build trust? Well, it's not that complicated, but so many SaaS companies screw this up. Who owns the customer? Whoever the customer contracted. That's really obvious, isn't it? Like the customer owns themselves. I don't know how it works in America, but I'm pretty sure that people own themselves, in most places. And so the customer owns themselves, but really they work with a partner. So in the terms of the customer relationship, the partner should own that because they're the ones the customer came to, right? And your job is to support them. So when you're talking to partners, this should be your orientation. Like, yeah, I think you should own the customer because they came to you. We're here to support you. We recognize that your job is to bring control and order to this process, and we will work with you however you want. And what they do is they evaluate you because they're an agency or consultancy, like you're an agency or consultancy. The partners team job is to bridge the product and the agency world or the consulting world and be kind of in between. So I run this podcast, Agency Connect, right? Similar to our SaaS Connect thing we do, and we talk to agencies all the time, and this is consistently what they say. They don't know they're evaluating us like agencies, but that is exactly what they're doing. They want you to be available by phone, Slack, email. Lead. They want you to let them lead. They want to keep them in the loop, and they don't want you to undermine them with the customer. Secondarily, you need to create case studies with the partner, of not just them with the customer, although that's how you get them on to give you a case study, like I said earlier with the blog, but also of how you supported the partner, because that's social proof to other partners of how you are supporting partners, because they're going to look at your website to see how to do it. And actually, more importantly, you need to give them, like I like to call it the McDonald's franchise model. You need to give them the visualization of how to construct a commercial model around you. This is very similar to what HubSpot did with inbound marketing agencies. They showed them how to be an inbound marketing agency, build a business, run it, make profit, set the retainers, all that stuff, so that it became visual. It became visual for these companies about how to work with you and make money. And one of the other things that I think comes up a lot in the enterprise, what is a software, is you have haggle pricing. That's impossible for a partner to bring to a client because they can't quote a price for the project, right? They need predictable pricing so they can give a client an estimate of how much it's going to cost before they engage with them. So you need to give them channel pricing. And to explain that to VP sales or revenue or CFO or whomever is trying to figures that enterprise pricing needs to be made up on the spot, it's like, well, this is a different market. You're going to market separately. It's a different placement if you know your P's from the marketing P's, and therefore it needs different pricing. So you just need to price it to fit the particular motion that you're in. And I think a lot of people make enablement really difficult. So I put together this template, senior.org/enablement. You don't have to give me your email or anything. You can go there, and it gives like a pretty good outline of all the material you need to give to a partner. When they're in that initial phase of learning to trust you, they're not going to want to like go through a lot of training with you necessarily. They want to see it all in one place. You can put together a simple 4-pager answering, what your product does, for what customer, who benefits, how the partners benefit, give them all the collateral of battle cards and help docs, and also explain to them how the partner program works, the commissions you offer, and the expectations you have of partners. So just go here, senior.org/enablement. It's actually way more detailed than this. It'll help you out. Speaking of commissions, well, big debates always. Commissions matter, they don't matter. They do matter, but only for those who have made you critical part of their business because they're thinking about it. Because that's how they build recurring revenue. That's what every consultant is desperate for, is predictable revenue of their own. Those who just don't really care about you, I mean, the commissions are a thank you basket. Really, give them very short-term commissions, but for the bigger ones, provide the deeper commissions. And I generally think you should give commissions as long as they're managing accounts because they're doing frontline support. And then in terms of metrics, they are aligned with marketing and sales. So you look at how many new accounts and what's the revenue impact. MQLs are aligned with PQLs. And then for co-sales and resale, similar, it's going to be PQLs and closed accounts from the partner. Keep it aligned to the underlying revenue teams of the life cycle. That's the way to go. There's a lot more I could talk about, like the shadow channel, which is awesome. I have a lot of these resources. If you're looking to find new partners, a really good way is looking at your existing accounts. It turns out a lot of consultants don't want to talk to you because they're helping clients and they sell time for a living. But you'll find them by looking at your accounts. Just look for all the domains, those accounts with multiple email domains, and those domains that appear in multiple accounts are likely to be consulting partners, even though they're not in your partner program. I have a spreadsheet here. Just email me, senior@appline.com. I can help you out calculating this on your own. You might find a lot more potential partners in here. And you can also just ask people on the sign-up form, are you signing up for yourself or a client? Or if you're signing up for yourself, is someone else helping you manage this account? Another really good way of meeting potential partners who are helping clients. And then finally, it's something that Appline will provide you, but you can build it yourself at great expense. But a really good product-led growth way of getting a channel partner into your program is to provide them the account management tool. So they can create accounts, log in, log out, switch between accounts, build a client, build themselves, all of this packaged in to give them a way of managing multiple client accounts. And for people who are not willing to engage in your partner program, this will give them a product way into a place where you can start messaging them. And this is something that Appline builds. So with that, I think I'll wrap it up. There's a million questions, of course, around. So let's see. Okay, any more things? Okay. Potential agency, not partners knocking. Yes, it's my contractor because I'm doing a reno. And how do you wean vendors off just trying to pass referral or affiliate fees through the product sales margin? I do not know what that means. I mean, you should never offer a discount on the subscription because the customers own it and they can see the partner margin. You should always rebate on the back end. Any suggestions on good certification platforms? Thinkific, pretty good. In the CSA. And what else? Partners are doing more than just your product. They're integrating. Yes. So the whole point of the agency is they bring together multiple solutions, custom for the customer. They're agencies. They take action for customers who need a custom solution. You're only one pipe in a plumbing system. So that's how that works. I'm Sunir@appline.com. I will be around as well. Just hammer me on chat. And yeah, thanks for coming. I appreciate it.